What's going on? I just want to address a couple things. I was approached by a person who was once a friend of mine. He went to school with me. But now, because now I'm a cop, I guess we ain't friends no more. There's nothing for negativity and racial comments spewed out against me from this person, which I could care less about because I understand, when you're lost, you lost. When you're stuck in a slave-like mentality, you really just, you can't come out of it unless you really open your mind up to seeing the truth. But I was, I guess, tagged in a police-involved shooting. Reference a person named, I think his name Alton Sterling. He was clearly justifiably shot. I don't know why. I don't know what's the complication in it, but the officers responded to a disorderly conduct call or a disturbance call where there's a male who supposedly pulled a gun on another guy. They get there, you can see them clearly having a dialogue with him. He's not complying. They tased him twice. They tried to tase him. It didn't have an effect. One of the officers had to tackle him to the ground. They're struggling with him. He's still resisting arrest. He's on the ground. At one point, one of the officers said he has a gun. The officer that's closest to the camera pulls his gun out, puts it on the guy's chest and say, "Do not reach for the gun, don't move," or to some of that effect, or I'm gonna shoot you. So the guy is still struggling with him. He reaches for the gun and gets shot. Subsequently, he dies, according to the article I read. Most people with common sense understand that that is justified. People who refuse to attribute accountability to some of these criminals want to make an excuse of why that wouldn't be a justifiable shooting. It's sickening, it's saddening, it's depressing at times that we have people in this world that are still so stuck on stupid that they cannot even perceptualize reality when presented with clear and concise facts. Okay? Have some accountability. Stop resisting arrest. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's a lesson that needs to be taught to some of these young brothers in these communities that resisting arrest won't get you anywhere, but possibly kill, justifiably or not justified. You're going to get killed. You could be dealing with a rookie officer or a tenured officer. You could be dealing with a good officer, or you could be dealing with a racist officer. Those elements you can't control, but you can control whether or not you're resisting arrest, whether or not you're breaking the law. As we can see through more contemporary history, is that when you start resisting arrest, you start fighting with police, pulling guns, bad things happen to you. You end up getting killed. And maybe one or two situations that I've seen that was unjustified, the officers are obviously charged, but at the same time, these guys are dead. They're dead now. It doesn't matter if the police get convicted or not. You're still dead. He can go to jail all you want, but you're dead. You're not coming back. So it's not worth it. Curbside justice don't work. You comply with the police officer, what he tells you, whether it's right or wrong, and then subsequent to your arrest, you can do something about it. You can deal with it in court. You can deal with it in internal affairs or whatever investigative unit that's responsible for investigating the department. I'm all for you recording your phone and doing all this stuff like that to get your little evidence, but putting it in the cop's face ain't gonna get you anywhere. I wish a police officer would arrest me for the wrong reasons. I'm not gonna argue with him. I'm gonna put my hands behind my back, do what I'm supposed to do. And you know what? I'm gonna sue the socks off of that department. And I'm gonna pay my house off, and I'm gonna probably buy me a new car. That's the way people should be thinking, instead of thinking you're gonna somehow pump up your chest and you're gonna fight the police. It don't end well. The crab in the bucket mentality is real. African Americans at times are their own worst enemies. And the reason I can say this is because I'm an African American. My own worst enemies. My own friends will come at me and call me racial slurs because I think that shooting was justified. I don't know these officers. I don't owe the officers anything. I don't know that kid that got killed. I don't owe him anything. and neither do the people who's supposed to be my friends. But the problem is when a young black man decides and gets educated and realizes that, hey man, the way I used to live back in the day, that wasn't the right way to think. That wasn't the right way to handle situations. Hey, the perception I had against police before I became a police officer, before I actually did a ride along, hey man, I was wrong. I was wrong all this time. You know, when I went to school and I learned about African American studies, and I learned about the slave trade, and I learned about the abolishment of slavery, post-slavery, I learned about all this stuff, I started to really realize that, dang, what I used to think that this was all about, it's not even really true. Attributing slavery to every single white person that exists on planet Earth is completely ridiculous. There was a civil war that occurred. People who did not want slavery and people who wanted slavery. And there was a fight. Obviously, we know who won. That involved blacks and whites working together. And I don't know why we can't think of that now and attribute people and look at people based on their character and not the color of their skin. I don't understand. But anyway, that's enough for today. Enough ranting. Y'all have a blessed day. See y'all later.